Okay, we are recording. So 41.95-ish as the entry, stop loss 41.93. Might be super wrong, but hey, we'll take a stab at it, as I said. And then 41.99 TP1, 42.02 TP2, and 42.07 TP3. Okay, and that would be it. Love the bearish candle. Let's see if we can get that trade in. Let me actually stack my trade. Okay, so I'll get in little high, anything below 96, happy to get in. I think we're just retesting the high of that range. Good. I'll enter once, and I'll see if I can add a couple more entries if we go a little bit lower. That'd be nice. Again, RSI is pretty high, so that's against my rules, not loving it per se. Could be just break below these lows. If we are violent, right? If price quickly breaks below these lows, that's actually fine. I will add the 50 and 60%. Again, the long trade is still valid for me, and as long as I'm managing my risk, that's okay, right? And then for this trade, for now, 93-ish is stop loss, and 42.02 is the take profit. MT4 platform will drive me crazy. MT5, okay. 42.02 roughly, and 41.93. There you go. Again, it's a 0.5% risk for my account, like $130. So not a lot of risk. I'm happy to take literally up to $500 losses or $700 losses if my trade is wrong. Hence why I could either hold it into bigger drawdown or I could potentially just add an extra trade if it goes lower, right? So in my case, I would be comfortable actually managing this trade and moving stop loss lower. I can manage a $220 loss, right? And then add one more trade down there where my stop loss is. If I'm confident, if I like the trade, if I like the look of it, right? But if you guys are not comfortable losing more on a given trade, I would highly recommend just take a loss and look for the next opportunity, right? That's the best approach. That's what I do on my day trading during New York session. I would rather take a small loss and re-enter than have a bigger loss that I'm comfortable with. Very important, right? So if I'm trading a $50,000 account, I better take two, three losses of $200 than I take one big one of 1,000, right? That's just better approach for me. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, considering the positions are pretty small, I can afford to have a 20 pip stop loss, which I think is reasonable considering we don't want to get stopped out in a matter of a minute. Okay. To hope these lows stay protected because we entered, but if we get a trade down to 50% or so or this area, I'll be happy to re-enter. And I like that RSI went down, so that's good. I like it. RSI went down, but the price didn't break the lows, right? So that's important also. Very important to consider. That means price is not very violent to the downside, and these lows remain protected in our particular case, right? That's very good to see, actually. So that will give me some further confidence into the bullish bias if we don't break these lows, right? Based on the market structure, right? Pretty much had the move to the upside. Let me actually show you the pattern, right? Had the move to the upside, created the high, the low, higher low, equal high, higher low, and then we break out, right? So that would be nice. If we break there, yeah, this microstructure within the half an hour is not valid, but overall still very bullish, right? Always don't forget to zoom out. That on a 5 minute time frame, guys, this is just peanuts we're looking at, right? So we're breaking down very small candles. Don't forget that there is bigger price action in play, right? And these stop losses are super tiny, right? You're trying to play with small range, right? Best case scenario, people who trade bigger take profit, bigger stop loss all the way below daily open, 50 pip stop loss for 120 pip take profit. That's a trade, big one, right? Swing one, I would say. But again, when we're trading like scalping type of approach, You have to manage your risk the proper way as well. Question times. Do we have any questions from anywhere in the world? Philippines, US, Thailand, Dubai, anywhere. Canada, Mexico, anywhere people have questions, let me know. If anything is not clear, maybe some concept you guys want to understand better. Fib, RSI, maybe the weekly levels, the daily levels that we use. Any questions are welcome. And he's asking, would it be valid if we wait for price to retrace lower before entering? By all means, Andy. Everything we're doing here is for educational and partially entertainment purpose. Keep our people engaged, right? And make sure you guys learn something new. But as I said, the trade would be valid, the long idea, anywhere up to this, anything above the daily open, to be honest with you. I'll be clear, daily open, as long as it's holds as a valid trade, right? We might just have a very choppy, slow price action session. That's entirely possible. We might have like a small bleed to the downside, and then we push up, right? Very possible also, right? Doesn't mean it's not valid anymore, right? All I'm saying for this particular mini trade idea, we're just betting on the fact that it's not going to break the lows, going to go higher exactly now, right? But even if the price goes down to 71%, 78, still a valid trade idea. Would love this to happen. And look, it looks pretty organic, right? If you ask me, this looks very organic price-wise, right? We might have a breakout at 10, 12 at night. So, short answer, as long as we hold the daily open, 41.90. As long as price stays above 41.90, I'm pretty bullish, right? For now, just because I'd like for this to break. Doesn't mean I'm gonna be bullish for the rest of the day, right? I'd love for actually the price to come up and then at night something consolidates and then I would take a sell during the day, right? That would actually be nice as well, right? So something like this. So my bullish bias is very short term, just for the duration of tonight until comes New York. Mr. Donald Trump says something fun, and all levels go to hell. Right? So keep that in mind. Okay, I love the price action so far. Notice that we held our size low. We're holding this level here, right? You can pretty much have a smaller time frame RSI and fib, right? Right here, 71, 78 held. So first TP on a smaller time frame would be around here, right? And here, these highs, so 98, 99-ish roughly. That would be an interesting area of taking profit if you go long from this area here, right? Again, price is not super volatile, unfortunately, so not much to do. But so far, liking the price action. Okay, how to spot liquidity or liquidity area? That's a tough one. Always remember that video where a guy shouting liquidity. How to spot liquidity? Mm, let me see. I don't even know how to give you a short answer for that type of question. Um, Liquidity, very wide concept. Do I have a clean chart? Let me see. Let me pull up a clean chart. So what is liquidity, right? Let's be real. Liquidity is just a fancy word that people use to say from where price can move a lot, right? In my words, liquidity is when markets are volatile, right? When price is moving fast, when there are a lot of orders, when market is efficient, when there are big players in the game. I just want to tell you guys, in the last multiple days, this is daily time frame, we had almost no liquidity, right? If you want to call it that, pretty much no volatility. Okay, let's say no volatility. And the reason there is no volatility right now, price action has been super slow, right? Daily candle ranges are terribly small, less than 1/4% in the last week. This is a month of December that we've entered, right? Big hedge funds, big institutions, big boys are taking their profits, securing their trades just so they can get their bonus, right? So a lot of the people who are trading or placing orders on gold or big institutions that are participating in the market are just not as active this time of the year. You'll notice that December is very slow in terms of price action. But liquidity wise, if you're referring, Andy, to or sorry, Joanna, if Joanna is referring to liquidity as an area of interest rather than, what drives the price, I would say liquidity lies around fair value gaps and order blocks, right? Which Zonar would highlight for you, right? So these optimal trade entries and so forth, order blocks and so forth, that is highlighted where the liquidity lies, or simply saying where price would spend a lot of time, right? So liquidity is where the price would range a lot or where the price would come back to quite frequently, right? So these zones like weekly open, daily open are not necessarily the liquidity areas, but where the price ranges a lot, right? So you will can visually see that this area right here is where there is a lot of liquidity and there is a lot of interest because price is trading around the zone quite a lot, simply saying, right? Or maybe this area right here where price consolidated for extended period of time, or this area right here from where we rejected 3 times. Those are our areas of liquidity from where the price will actually move, right? Or where it will accumulate orders for extended period of time before going into a certain direction. Hopefully that makes sense. How to spot it, you have to educate yourself. You have to do the courses, the educational courses that we have on PrimeVerse. I mind you that we literally have a lesson on it as well. Let me actually pop that for you. Um, I don't know if you went through it or not, right? But our advanced course for people who are new here, liquidity concepts, liquidity part two. So I don't know, Joanna, have you done this? I'm actually curious. Okay, you did it. Good. So if you did it, of course you can. Okay, okay, good. You did the videos there. Videos are pretty helpful. They will explain your general concept, but from there you will just need to practice, 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 right? Just look at the naked chart and try to spot these areas for yourself. That's probably the best advice I can give you. Okay, so quick one from Human. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Human Miles. Second name Miles. We'll go with Miles. Question from Miles. Sir, is a 0.01 lot price per $100 is a good lot sizing for an account, or is it too high or low? So to answer your question, Miles, you cannot go lower than 0.01. So it's definitely not too low. The 001 size for $100 account is decent. Okay. The reason I'm saying is decent, when you're trading 0.01, you're making $1 profit for every $1 that gold moves. So you're buying literally 1 ounce of gold when you're trading 0.01. Okay. Meaning for you to lose your $100 from here, if you're buying and you don't care about stop loss, you're like, to hell with stop loss. I don't trust Dennis. I'm not gonna use a stop loss. I don't want to lose money. I'm only gonna close my trade only if I make money. Some people do that. Some people trade with no stop loss. It will take for the price to go down all the way there, roughly, for you to lose your money. Okay. And that's a lot, right? Price needs to move a lot for you to lose money, right? $100, the whole $100 that you have, right? So hopefully that clears up, right? 0.01 is pretty safe to trade with $100 account. Be honest with you, sometimes I trade even more on $100, right? When I flip the account, I can trade even up to 0.03, 0.04, but that's super risky, right? You have to have tight stop loss. But 0.01 is pretty good, especially if you're a beginner. If you are experienced or advanced, 0.05, I could shove it all in on $100 account, especially if I'm flipping it, wouldn't be too concerned about that, right? So just to multiply the account balance rather quick. So again, guys, for now, one trade that we entered before, unfortunately, wasn't able to call it out, is in profit. Second trade around 95-ish is also in profit. We were in a bit of a drawdown by 15 pips or so, but is doing pretty decent right now. Again, I've highlighted the take profit areas, right? Around here and around there. This is if you're super ambitious. This is for Ali. Ali, you asked me a question. I don't know if you're still here, but if you're ambitious enough to keep your trade overnight, aim for that area, 4207, okay? Yeah, so that's a bit of a swing trade right there, and I don't know. I like to have my sleep in peace, okay? There is enough stress for me throughout the day, throughout the evening trading. So I like to have a sleep, and when I wake up, I don't want to do the first thing is pick up my phone and look at the chart if I make profit or loss. Okay? That's the last thing I want. I'm sorry, guys, but it's so important to have emotional stability and the mornings are very important. Mornings is where you plan for the day, you reflect, you kind of it's where you start, right? Every day you start fresh. And if you start the day by looking at the phone and the trade that you placed yesterday, good if it's green. To hell if it's red. If you lost money at night and the first thing you see in the morning is that you lost money. Oh my, the day is done. You know what I mean? I mean, hopefully it's a small loss, right? Hopefully it's a managed loss, etc. But it's just, I'm sorry, I've been in this game for way too long. I have gray hair. If you guys meet me in person, you will see that bunch of my hair is gray, even though it should be black. It's all because of that, right? Because I would be stressed and worried about my trades too much. And again, the funny part is, similar to how it was with Ali, right? So, like for example, I'll give you guys example from yesterday night. Okay, say you got into a trade at night, right? I'll be looking at Toronto time, right? So around this consolidation area. Imagine you're going for a short and you're entering around like you had a sleepless night or whatever. You enter around 2 o'clock at night. You place your stop loss somewhere here, right? And then you place your take profit all the way down there at the weekly open area or something like that, right? And then you go to sleep. It goes all the way down to your take profit, which is amazing, right? It's like 170, 150 pips in profit. And then you wake up 8 o'clock in the morning and it's literally at break even. Boom, you're sad. You're like, oh my God, it's been almost there. It's now in break even, or even less, right? Even worse than you entered late, right? And then it actually went there, stopped you out. There are so many theoretical scenarios that can happen overnight that you don't control, right? Unless you really don't care about the loss and you're like, to hell with it. This is just a simple trade. I'm on a $10,000 account. I'm risking $100, 1%, and that's it. I don't care. That's fine. If you're like super confident, you're at that stage of your journey when you're emotionless, good. You can do this. But especially if you're a beginner or an intermediate, somewhere around there, please have a nice night without having to worry, without waking up 5 a.m. in the morning and checking your phone. It's just I've been there myself and I don't recommend it for anyone, really. Unless you want to have a sleepless night and you want to keep yourself at night, go into a very big trade size and that will keep you up by all means. For sure it will. So again, hopefully that answers your question. I apologize. I don't know. There was not even a question about it, but I just went into sharing an example about the overnight trading. But hopefully you guys learned something from that, okay? Yeah, Ali, as you said, place it and forget it, but only if you don't have emotions the next day. Jem is asking, if I miss the signal but touches the entry or near entry again, can I still buy? Yes, Jem, by all means, right? And I will repeat this again. I would love to be there with you guys the whole night, but I need to spend some time with my wife also. Otherwise, she gets very upset that I don't spend enough time with her because she's working during the day. I have these training sessions in the evening. So, family time is important. As I said, trading is not the only thing in life that matters. We do trading so that we can do things in life that matter. Okay? At the end of the day, that's not the end goal. The end goal is to make money through trading, have a less stressful life, even though trading does give you stress sometimes, but it's just temporary. Okay? Um, but again, a jump to answer your question. I'm sorry I divulge a little bit sometimes, but as long as we are open, I'll actually write it down right here for people. As long as we are above daily open 41.90, I'm bullish. Okay? And bullish up to here, right? So let me just, that's as far as I could take. 40, 42.10. That's as far as I'm happy to take it this night in terms of target. That is a reasonable range to play with. Again, this is based on the sessions. This is based on my observations. We're just at the beginning of the Tokyo range, right? If you check the previous Tokyo range from literally last night, it was around 20 bucks. That's also important experience that you can get, right? So $20 range from yesterday, playing into today, literally around there, right? Up to here, 20 bucks. That's why I'm not looking for a range that's much higher. These type of days were there by all means, but I don't expect this to happen every time. So it's important that you guys understand the range of each potential trading session and the range that you can catch. It can be 30 pips, realistically $20, realistically, once again, 25. Sometimes these are big, like 40-ish or so, but you need to understand how much the price can move while you're in the trading session, right? Up until the next trading session, right? So if you have sleepless night, you know, up until New York, it can move 30 bucks roughly, unless some war happens in the world, right? Which is unusual most of the times, right? So 20 to 40 pips is the range. Sometimes it could be less, right? So that's the highest that you could aim for. Hence why I'm always aiming on the conservative side of things. So in this particular scenario, if we maintain this as the low of the range, hence why I'm saying I'm bullish, as long as we keep this daily open support it. If we break the low below the daily open, my bias turns bearish because we break this trend, we have change of character, we break the trend line, and we will most probably move lower to test these lows, right? But as long as we stay above the daily open, we could get all the way up to 4207, 4210-ish if we can get that price action. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So it's important how this daily open level plays out, if that candle stays bullish or not, right? What are you seeing right now, guys? For example, that we are rejecting for the hell knows which time. We're rejecting this level, right? That's why weekly level is key. And I would love for the price to break it with force, but it's just not doing that just yet, meaning it's either not the right time or liquidity is not there in order for the price to break above the area. We had so many wicks throughout the trading session that we had so far. One, two, three, four, five, 6 wicks around this area just in the time that we guys were there together. But that also means the more we test the area, the more fragile it becomes, right? The more likely that we break it, right? So again, diverged a little bit into too many details, but to answer your question, Jem, as long as we are above 4190, you can remain bullish for now. And again, it's back to that area, right? So if you didn't have a chance to enter, you can do so. But I would mind you that there are entries possible from the 50% and around 71. This area that I highlighted, right? So 4191, 4193-ish is another potential area if we break these lows with stop loss just around 4190. Okay, so also a $2 stop loss if this gets taken out. Okay, and that's same target, mind you. So risk reward gets better, 5 to 1. Okay. Would love for the price to move more, guys, but I'm sorry I'm not that coach who will trade a terrible range when there is no price action. I really want you guys to hopefully you learn something from today, right? That you don't need to click the button every second. Otherwise, you're just playing casino, right? You won't realize when it happens, right? But we could have taken a short, a long, a short, a long, but that's too small of a range for me to play in. Okay. I like to have trades which give me 50 to 100 pips in potential profits, right? By all means, right? We could just trade it off of the RSI. Literally sell here, sell here, buy here, so on, right? But not my personal favorite type of approach into trading, right? This is just a range where price is going from the high to the low, and it's deciding as to what it's going to do next. So I rather position myself within this range for the next upcoming move. And if we get a sharp breakout of this range to the lower side, pretty much a liquidity grab, right? Boom, and then boom. I would love to add to my long trade. This way, I have to do less clicking and I can just make money off of one or two trades rather than being stressed out about price moving up and down nonstop. Okay. Harvey asked, Harvey, I know one Harvey. I don't know if that's the one, but how many positions can I place if I have 100 USD for a 0.01 lot size? Harvey, that depends on your leverage. If you're using 500 to 1 or 1000 to 1, right? But roughly with a 500 to 1, you need $8 US for 0.1. So that puts you around 13 positions, a total trade of 0.13, which I would not recommend for you to get in. That's too much on a $100 account. That's called full port, and that's not what we teach out here, right? So, but yeah, you could probably go up to 10 different trades or so, roughly. Um, Joanna asks, I know why we tagged 41.97 as weekly open. Oh, um, so Joanna asked, let me actually answer a question. Sorry, may I know why we tagged 41.97 as WO weekly open? I try to check the week time frame and it is week body closed. Yeah, so again, this is where we just opened up, right? Current week, if you look at the candle, I apologize, I have too much writing in here. Let me move that up. Right, that's where the weekly candle opened up. It's hasn't done anything yet, so it's not very informative. But if you super zoom in, right? If you zoom in a lot, that's literally where the candle opened up from. So why it's important is, yeah, current week. Again, you can have the previous week close, but it's just not as relevant because there is not a lot of a gap, right? So current week open, it's where price will go around this week, right? That's why we highlight the weekly open and not a previous week close. I don't care about previous week close. I care about previous week open, right? So hopefully that helps, right? Current week open. Okay. What time frame is better if I trade overnight? Odie is asking. Okay, so that'll be the last question I'll answer, guys. And someone said TP hit. Happy to hear, guys. I hope your longs are playing out. Type in the chat if you guys are long. How many people are in a trade and how many people are long? We have 45 people in. Does everybody analysis align with what I'm thinking here, or am I the only crazy who's looking to buy some gold? That makes sense? Okay, Christian Long, Jan trying to enter, Joanna Long, Harvey Long, Dylan, 100%, long, long, long. Love it, love it. Errol's been long since 6:30. 41.95 entry, love it. 6:30 is early, man. That's actually a good entry at 6:30 though. Where I love the range play. Hopefully, I don't know how you held through that downside action. That was pretty good. Long, long, long. Good, good, good. Love it. 41.55. Oh, 41.95 entry. TP hit at 97. Hey, that's good. That's good, James. You've been probably trading 0.1 lot, I assume. Hey, love it for you, right? Don't get me wrong. Profit is profit. As I said, you guys probably could have traded this range all throughout. It's a 30 pip range. Nothing wrong with that. Love the range. Would have been a couple nice trades, as I said. One here, one here, one here, one here, one here. Too many. Too many for you. Sorry, it gives me anxiety, the amount of trades I would have to place. But hey, look, any strategy is good as long as it's reasonable and as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you have confidences around it and you're not over trading. So, on that note, I do want to thank you guys for participating. I would love to see this reach 4202, as I mentioned before. And then ambitious 4207, that would be the ambitious target. But for now, price action is pretty bullish, stay bullish, unless we break the daily open. I want to thank you all for your participation, for your feedback, for your questions, for Just being there with PrimeVerse. It's important for us that you guys are there and that you guys support everything that we do. So type some W's in the chat. I love my W's for our first timers. We love our W's in the chat. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate everybody's attention. Thank you for spending a Monday evening with me. I wish everybody nothing but a productive week. And I hope you guys learn a lot of new things with our platform. Thank you once again for tuning in. And I hope you guys have a great evening. Spend time with family. Turn off some time, relax, recharge. There will be new opportunities tomorrow. Remember, trading is a marathon and not a sprint. You're not gonna make $1 million this minute, but you might make it over the course of the year if you stay consistent enough and you stay patient. So, thank you everyone once again. Thank you guys for joining. And good night on that note. Bye for now.